I know what you've always wanted to see your whole life, dryer trunnion repair. Today you're watching Cleaning with Keenan. Woo! Let's get into it. Well, today's it. This is a trunnion, that's a dryer. We gotta put it together. Let's go. Once we remove the access panel on top and the panel on the bottom, then we got 8 of these 5/16 screws we gotta take out. After that's done, we gotta take out 4 of these hex head screws. And you gotta be careful because this dryer door will fall off. And then we gotta unhook the wires from our door sensor. Once the cover comes out, then we can pull the drum out. Slide down like a guillotine on. Yeah, I know I could use an impact for this, but a lot of times you strip these screws and these black metal threaded tabs on the back are not that strong. You end up breaking them, especially when you put the screw back in. Fun fact, you know something cool Speed Queen does that Dexter doesn't do in her dryers? 50s, 80 pounds, 45 stacks, whatever. They have a way to mount your door on both sides of the machine. Okay, so say you didn't want your door to open to the right. See this? You see that? Let's say you have a laundromat, you have Speed Queen equipment, even on the older stuff. I'd say early 2000s. Say your door latch, that plastic thing breaks off because those rivets in there, they break and you don't have one, but you don't want the machine to be out of order. All you gotta do is flip your door. And literally, there it is over there. This is the blank for your door switch. That wire will feed all the way over to the other side. And you mount your door hinge there, you just flip it over. The bottom becomes the top, top becomes the bottom. You're back in business. That's a neat tip most people don't know about. You see that? The thing isn't even attached. The belt just fell off. There we go. Like I said, remember this is what it should look like? Hey, don't get away from me. There's what's left of it. There's the rest of it. Right here. Just seized right off. Here's our belt, which it broke the belt. So we're gonna have to see if we got a belt. Another fun tip, you see this? These are your fins that push the clothes around. If you ever get stuff stuck in them, really the only way to get them cleaned out is to pull these end tabs off, and you got to fish through them. Or when you have the drum out like this, you can pick all this out. Should use a shop vac, but I'll be back at this in a couple weeks, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. Once we loosen the 1/2-inch nuts off the bolts here, this, there it is. Take that plate off. That's basically this plate here. These are all the parts. Actually, they're individual. I'm just lucky they're getting held on. Now I know I told you this trick before, but it's a really weird trick. See how the belt has horrible memory? It's like you have to literally, I'm going to show you. You got to take the belt and you got to put it above that ring all the way around there. There are clips you can use. They go in the ceilings. I don't use this. I put it around the ring. I push the drum in. Then I reach in with my hand. I get the belt out and get it running around the drum. Then I tighten it. But the belt will not hang there right in this condition. So we put it in the dryer. And the heat from the dryer will take those wrinkles out and make that belt more pliable. Put it on high heat, about 10 minutes. Oops, had the box out. Let that ride around. It's not going to hurt the dryer and it doesn't hurt the belt. This is what you got to do. So that'll get nice and warm. All the wrinkles will come out and we'll be able to put it in. While that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and clean up my mess. I'm going to take off the stuff in the back so that this can slide right through, because right now we have the old shaft in our way. We're going to go in the back and we're going to pull that out real quick. Got my panel off. Always put panels back. And like that, we take off our last 1/2-inch nut. The housing comes off and you can see through there. There's the other half of that shaft. There's a bearing there. I'm sure that bearing's bad. All we got to do is pop this off. We'll have to get a hammer because it's not going to come out easily. See, look at it now. Look at the shape it takes. Perfect. No more kinks. I just wanted to teach you that trick because a lot of people won't teach you that on YouTube. I don't even know if they know the trick. And make sure you clean these while you're in here too. This is a hell of an opportunity. You already got it apart. You might as well clean it all out, because why leave lint behind later to cause a problem? See how I clean mine so well? Anyway, there's the belt. See, it's pushed up on there? That's out of the way of the drum. So now the drum's going to slide in nice and pretty, go right through its hole, and then we'll pull that belt out And that's the tensioner right there we'll put on it. Okay, now one thing I do is I put, I don't order Speed Queen bearings because they're, I can't imagine what they charge you for a bearing, but this bearing was only like $5 or $6 from Granger. It's a Timken or a Triton. Some are Timken, some are S&K. They're perfectly fine for what we're doing. That's good enough for this. It's going to work just fine. You don't need to overpay for OEM. Don't let people fool you. A lot of people say, nope, you got to have OEM. No, you don't, folks. Even Speed Queen will tell you most of the stuff that they get is made by these companies, selling to them with a different part number, the same products. And like that, we got it pushed in. When you go through the middle of that dryer, there's a felt ring in the middle, and it keeps it from sucking air from the back of the machine. You got to wiggle it through that. It's tight, and it's tight for a reason, so it works properly. So you got to make sure you pop it through there without that belt falling down. And see here, we're close. So now what we're going to do is another trick. So we put the nut on here. We're going to pick this up. I don't know what I'm going to do with you guys. I guess just see what kind of weird camera angle you're going to get from that, huh? I want to warn you, the hardest part of this job is getting this to center back in this bearing. When it comes through, it's going to be dropped down because it actually pushes it up about an inch, maybe half an inch, 3/4. So what I do is I take a wrench and I'll actually push on this with another hand while I'm trying to push that on. So I'm pushing that and pushing that bearing on, and I put a couple of these screws on the threads so that it can't fall off at me. It's covered in the front so it can't slide off that way. The belt shouldn't slip down below, but it's like a 3-part trick that you wish you had another hand. You can reach inside the drum and try to push it up, but you got to do that and this at the same time, so you need a second person. Just something I wanted to point out because a lot of people don't realize this and they'll get stuck at this phase. Real simple though. You're gonna have your washer goes on. You're gonna have your big nut first, and then you got your keeper, your locking nut. Now, like I said, I put all my screws in, I put the covers back on, we're good there, the nuts are tight. Now I took the access cover off to this little hole. These are those pulleys, you can barely see them. These are those pulleys in there. One, the belt goes around one and around the other. All you're gonna see is me contorting here for a couple minutes. This is where if you know somebody that was part of the circus and can move a lot, hire them. All right, we're gonna put this belt on. We gotta use a 3/8 ratchet or 3/8 extension with the ratchet. And there's a hole right there. And we're gonna put it right in there. We're gonna get rid of one extension. I should have a pipe on it. But basically I gotta make it so this thing goes over and then I slip the belt on. So now you can see, now you see it there? That's the belt. Got to use the ratchet. We got the trunnion all replaced, the bearing put in, you saw all that, the back end's all done, everything's closed up. We put the covers all on the front, we've got the roller bearing we just replaced on the drum. Now let's fire this up and see what she does. Moment of truth, you're witnessing this. Sweet, it's working. Before what it was doing is, it wouldn't turn. It'd fire up, you'd hear the motors run, but the drum would just go like that. And then eventually the belt just broke. So people would call, I just heard a noise, what was that? Oh. People would call and be like, this drum is making noise, but it's not turning. And basically because that trunnion broke in half. But it's the same exact procedure, whether it's a 55, 45, 30 pound stack, single pockets of any size, it's all the same. The nice thing is 45 pound stacks and 55 pound dryers use the same belt. So, food for thought there. Thanks for watching. Keep it clean.